Hey, welcome back to the Tower of Geekdom. My name is Dax Orion, and today we're going to talk about PC versus console. Oh, yes, the whole console versus PC thing. Yep, we're doing this. As the title of the show is Beating a Dead Horse, I aim to do just that. For years since the modern computers became powerful enough to be on par with consoles, people have debated the topic of which is better. A little history, if I may. Imagine, for those of us who weren't there for early DOS, when a megabyte was considered a large file, consider that the data storage was far more limited than it is now. I'm talking less than 10 gigs. For those who install games now, know that most games today are well over 6 gigs apiece. A terabyte's worth of games was considered an impossibility. To have a gaming rig in the 90s was a super luxury. Consoles like the PlayStation 1, and soon after that the Xbox, for a disc that held more data on them, did it quickly and didn't require hard drive space beyond, saving. Yes, to save additional data, such as game files, you needed more memory. For the PlayStation, it was in the form of a memory card. The Xbox had a fairly large internal memory storage size for the time, but you could still buy memory cards for the Xbox. These machines also played games at better frame rates and had much better graphics because they were dedicated machines. They were literally designed to play games. Most computers that most people had at the time were not usually designed only for gaming. Gaming was a secondary thought. Now, eventually, PCs started having more features with better RAM, better graphics cards, things more on par with the consoles. For those who spent the majority of their time on their computers, switching from work to play in a double click was great. You didn't have to move over to a couch, fight the kids for the TV. None of that. No fighting, period. You just had your machine and you, and it was great. It was already in front of you. You didn't have to think about it. Just there it is. For college kids who, let's face it, were already harbingers of PC development, this was a no-brainer. Homework done? Cool, Doom time. So now the computers could start running far better games, modern games, graphically equivalent games. You had more and more people wanting to keep all their media in one location. Now we mentioned equivalence here, but one thing wasn't, and to be fair, still isn't, which leads to one of the major pros for consoles: the price. PCs back then and today still cost more than a console does, at least rigs that run games at equal or better levels than consoles. Consider the fact that computers still perform other tasks that consoles don't. For instance, you're not likely to be typing out your thesis or planning your business itinerary on an Xbox One. You're going to be using a laptop or a PC. It's going to cost more. I'm going to flesh this out now because we're going to the pros and cons list. We all love these, don't we? Just, or is it just me? It's probably just me. Now, for most pros, the cons are going to be the opposite for the other side. For instance, we mentioned price. For PC, it's a con. For console, it's a plus. Consoles, in general, cost less than a PC. So let's go over the pros for the PC. Now, this list, of course, is subjective. It's my opinion. You don't have to share it, but these are mine, and I'm going to do it. So there. Number one, PCs have stronger hardware available to them. Most PCs can run at higher frame rates per second, can render visuals far quicker, have dedicated sound adjustments built into them, and with specialized equipment, you can customize their entire interface and experience. Which leads me to number two, more options for control and customization. While it's true that you can wear all sorts of headsets for consoles, you can adjust specific sound channels and sound properties with a PC. While not a lot of people I know adjust every individual aspect of the sound cards or special sound equipment, the options are there. Number three, controlling the game. A mouse and keyboard is generally considered the more precise way to move and aim. Beyond that, most keyboards these days are programmable, meaning you can macro several actions. For those who don't know, a macro is essentially a one push makes many things happen sort of thing. If you've ever played Final Fantasy 15 or World of Warcraft, etc., macros are bread and butter for more serious players. That being said, you can still create macros for the games I mentioned, at least for Final Fantasy 15, on the consoles too, but keyboards can be programmed outside of the game to do similar things, and you can usually adjust them on the fly, making them far superior in most people's opinion. Number four, PCs are upgradable. As time progresses, current gen becomes last gen. Consoles are stuck at the technological level of whatever generation they're born into, save releasing an updated version of a console, which to me is a new console that can't be upgraded. The beauty of a PC is that you can usually buy one computer, but replace the parts as you go. If you need more storage, need better RAM, replace your graphics card, get a better processor, whatever. Usually you can do it with a simple Amazon run or wherever you might buy your parts. Number five, available game library. Through Steam and emulation, which we'll get to eventually, As direct first party launchers, PCs have just about universal access to all games being released now, and all games prior. Now remember, the cons are just about the polar opposite of the console, but we're still going to go over the pros of the consoles just to, for solidarity's sake. Number one for consoles are simple. What I mean is that to play a game on a console, you literally have to turn on the machine, open the disc tray, insert the game, and just wait for it to load. And there you go. You don't have to do any other adjustments outside of setting your brightness, your subtitle preferences, your volumes, all that good jazz. It's as close to plug and play as you're going to get. And number two, you don't have to worry about compatibility. A game created at the beginning of the current generation will play just as the last game created will, meaning that if a console is old enough to see the creation of, say, Super Mario, it's still going to be able to play Super Mario at the end of its lifespan, as well as your first generation of that console generation, if that makes sense, will be able to play the very last game created for that console, because they're designed in a way that you will never have to worry about the upgrades. Number three, the console will survive for a long time without the need to replace it. What I mean here is that outside of flaws, malfunctions, or catastrophic system failure, a console will last for quite a while in terms of value. Generally, a new console comes out when a jump in technology occurs. For consoles like the PlayStation 1, it became obsolete when graphics quality became better and easily mass reproducible. Thus, for the generation it was in, it lasted until the next bump came up. Same with the generation that followed, it lasted until the graphics standard increased, which leads back to the price. Number 4, you buy the whole package once. You don't need to upgrade the system just because a new game comes out. And I know that ties into a previous point, but I felt it deserved its own number because it's quite the important part. To reiterate, you buy it once. You bought the Super Nintendo one time. As far as you were aware, you never had to buy another Super Nintendo unless yours broke. Now, these are just a few pros, but for the most part, these are the arguments I see most often. It comes down to price more than anything else, in my opinion. For instance, a lot of people buy consoles because it costs several $100s less than a computer. That being said, in the current atmosphere of 4K plus, PCs lead the way. They get the new tech right out the gate because they can be upgraded and adjusted. Now, this isn't scripted in this last part, and I just want to go over how I personally feel about it without having to think about it. So you're going to hear my ranting and raving, and I'm going to make mistakes here. It might be padding. I really don't care. Right now, I think I'm at 7.5 minutes, but it bears a personal touch when it comes to this sort of thing. Now, I've been gaming again since I could talk and walk and all that good jazz, and I find myself torn, at least I did for a while. And what I mean to say is that I was an avid console guy. I couldn't even imagine picking up a PC for anything because why should I? Everything I need is right here. I don't have to worry about it. I bought the game, came home, and I played it. I didn't have to update anything. I didn't have to install anything. It was just good to go. But this is back when he had cartridges and you had other easier ways of playing. You just again, it was plug and play. It really was. But now when you buy a game on say the Xbox One, as far as I'm aware, since I don't happen to own one, so if I'm wrong, you guys are welcome to correct me. You would have to install a portion of it onto the system itself before you can actually play it. Now, I get how this is going to be kind of hypocritical to my next point, but I think it's a difference in that when you buy a game on the PC, you know you're going to be sitting there waiting for it to install, at least if you're getting it digitally, which 95% or more of the people buying PC games are going to be doing. That's the point. The accessibility of the games library, while I mentioned it as one point, is one of the most important points that you can possibly imagine. I could go right now into Steam, find a game for the N64, and play it. I don't have to dig out the console out of my my garage or my closet, hook it up, test everything, make sure it's all working. No, I just have to read if there's a compatibility issue with Windows 10 or whatever, and here I am playing Rogue Squadron. Now that being said, there's something visceral about playing on an old console, or even playing on a new console where you sit around on a couch with your buddies, you got a couple drinks, and you just play your games. I can't, like, for instance, I cannot imagine playing Super Smash Brothers just on the PC, at least yet. We're getting there. And I know that's not the only game worth, giving a damn about, but we all know how people get over their Smash. People go crazy for that. As I actually hear, since I don't know to Switch, The new one's doing pretty good, and even Melee fans are coming around to it, which is a good sign for the series as a whole. I, again, am not that hardcore into it. I enjoy it because I like character mashups and crash ups and all that fun stuff. I actually like PlayStation, the All Stars game. I did enjoy it. I was a decent fan of it. I wish some of the characters I had liked were stronger, and I kind of wish the killing mechanic was a little bit better, but you had to differentiate yourself from Smash. Now, I don't want to stay on those games because that could be a topic on its own thing. I'm trying to say that I'm not a master race PC sort of guy, but I can understand sometimes how the mentality forms. I'm fine with console players. I know people who play both. I know people who play just one. For instance, I have a friend at the place I work who swears by his console and probably won't upgrade to a PC until his console dies or they stop making them. And he will play just about the same games I will. Like he'll play Warframe and any other game like Killing Floor that you can get that's shared about every console you can, especially if they're freemiums, like those two games are, where you can buy things in game to look cooler or sometimes just save time. But again, entirely different topic. I'm not worried about that right now. But he swears that he'll get the same experience that he will from a console on a PC. And I'll say that in gameplay, that's probably correct. With the exception of mods, which I should have added to the PC bit as pros, since they're almost exclusively found on them. In fact, you know what? Here's an addendum. For PC Pro, you can have really accessible mods. And I say this right now while downloading mod for Skyrim. And if you know me, I've played way too much Skyrim. And it's just easier to do on a console. You can't do it. Because when you look at a console, they limit you on how much you can upload, or I should say download. I'm not entirely sure which word you would use here. You're limited to what you can actually put onto your hard drive and the file sizes available for your download. That I know. So when I want to say get a weapons mod for Skyrim on the PlayStation, I know that they have special limitations because of Sony's contracts and all this other good junk that you opt into when you have a PlayStation. I know that file sizes matter on the Xbox One, so I couldn't get a very large mod because you just can't do it, and a lot of creators aren't going to spend a lot of time making scripts connecting point A to point B to point C when on the PC all they got to do is like, well, here's A, enjoy. But that being said, and I love being the contrarian to my own demise, uh, you can still get mods on the PC. Or you can still get mods on the console. Like I said, I'm not going to clean this up. This is just me ranting. And you still have the accessibility to some things, which means that you're still getting some of the experience. Now, if you're not into the mod scene, this doesn't affect you in the least. You're not going to care. I personally find that I can't go back to consoles if they don't have the kind of modding I'm used to now. So I find myself stuck in the PC world. Now, for better or worse, I found that I've enjoyed it more because, as I was saying in the pros, there's a lot more adjustability in the PCs. But that could also lead to a dangerous path here. So here's a con for this that I could have added if I did a con section. On the PC, you can screw things up. What I mean to say is, especially when it comes to modding, if you decide you're going to download it manually, if you don't know where to put the files and you're not looking up a video on how to do it, you could be digging your own grave. You can bust your game so badly that you'll have to uninstall and pray that there's no cloud save file that is going to screw with everything you've done. So, in that regards, consoles are safer. You're not going to have that problem with a mod. It goes to a specialized location that you think, as a general user, can't access. In retrospect, I probably should have gotten more opinions from the people who play consoles specifically, just to see what they think their strengths are. And I'm interested in that, and this is where I'm probably going to end this video. If you play consoles exclusively, I would like to see some comments below explaining to me why you think that you'll stay as a console gamer over a PC. Or if you play both, why you still prefer your console. Is it one of my points? Is it one of, your own design? I'm genuinely curious. And for that matter, would you switch over to the PC given the right incentive? Now, like I said, I'm going to end the video here, so please subscribe if you like. I do relatively often. I stream with my friend Ranting Monkey in the morning and my friend Irate Bear in the morning. Usually really early. On Bear's channel, Irate Bear, we stream at around 3:30 Central, 4:30 Eastern, and with Ranting Monkey, we stream around anywhere between 5 a.m. Central to 7 a.m. Central start. So you get a decent amount of talking, and we talk about any which thing we want. So if you like hearing me talk, which I can't understand why, and you would like to hear more topics that may have been involved in today's on there, which we can do because it's open forum for the most part. We really aren't scripted. Then please feel free to go over there. I will try to remember to link them in there. I'm still learning how to do all this stuff, so bear with me as I learn. That being said, my name is Dax Orion. This has been Tower of Geekdom, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you.